Today's topic will be to decide whether or not it is still beneficial for high school students to read Homer's The Odyssey. I'm in the studio right now and I have Devon, Luke, and David on call. David and Luke will be supporting The Odyssey while Devon and I will be opposing them.
There are many examples of why high school students should read The Odyssey by Homer. One example is that in The Odyssey, it follows the hero's journey.
But many books actually follow the hero's journey. So what is so special about The Odyssey?
That it has a special world and a normal world, so there's like two separate worlds into there.
Any book that follows the hero's journey's got that.
Like The Hobbit, in The Hobbit, you have Bilbo's regular, where he lives, his house, but then he goes on the journey and he fights the dragon. That's a special world.
Yeah, but there's also like many examples of literary theories, like for example the Marxist theory in the book.
Give me an example of Marxist theory.
Like there's gods, there's noblemen and servants, like there are like different classes inside them.
A lot of other books have that as well.
Yeah, but there's different ones. An example from it is from the Three Musketeers. Like you have the king, the noblemen, knights, and then at the bottom are the servants. So this can relate to it.
Exactly. So why do we have to read? So why do we have to read the Odyssey if we can read the Three Musketeers if it also gives us a sense of Marxist theory?
They have different examples in them.
That's true, but all books have different examples.
But basically, Marxist theory is the same. There's classes. You can't change that.
Okay, a reason I don't think The Odyssey is a good book for high school students to read, I feel like it's a bit outdated with its ideologies. Some of the lessons that they teach can't really be applied to our modern society.
Although you might say some of the ideologies from it are outdated, they can still be applied in some ways through modern society. For instance, Odysseus praying to Zeus can be mirrored today as a man perhaps praying to Jesus Christ. So it doesn't have to be an exact, practically mirror image of what it is today. The point is it's still relatable.
I agree, some things do match up with modern society, but others don't. For instance, the witch Circe turning Odysseus' men into swine, and then Odysseus having to have intercourse with her to get them changed back. That does not happen in the modern world.
I agree with Kanishk. A lot of their customs are like sort of outdated.
Although literally in real life, witches don't actually turn men into pigs, and today it literally can't be taken word for word like that, but there's still examples of that sort of thing today.
Okay, I see what you're saying, but I still don't agree that The Odyssey is worth reading for high school students. Because another thing is every single character, no matter if they're the hero or the villain, has major flaws. For instance, Odysseus follows the Greek pattern of hubris, where he is overconfident, he has a big ego, and
He's a bit cocky.
Yeah.
It's the way they're telling the story. No character is actually perfect. They're supposed to be relatable. You can't relate to a perfectly perfect character if they're just practically a perfect god. They have to be relatable in some ways, and you have to be able to relate to them in the way humanity itself has its flaws. It's written to be relatable.
But the thing is, they have too many flaws in the Odyssey.
It's the same thing as you were saying. It can't be a perfect mirror image of what happens today. You have to look at different aspects of it and relate that to our modern life. You can't take it literally.
Exactly. Which I'm saying is, the things they do you cannot take literally as what I was saying, but then their actions themselves, and people realize still today that no one is perfect and they have their flaws and they do what they have to do just like in real life.
That's not the point. The point is that the characters have major flaws. And it's not even flaws, it's big negative points. Like the big ego, you don't see that kind of personality in most modern contemporary books. Mostly a person with a big ego is a villain or a threshold guardian. You never see someone with a big ego being the hero nowadays.
Well, you see, that's simply not true. Somebody with a high self-esteem just recently become successful. Our new president, Donald Trump, he has a very high self-esteem, has a lot of confidence. He became a billionaire and is now the president of the United States. This can be seen in Jeremy Diamond's article for CNN, where he explains that Donald Trump considers $1 million loan to be small.
I see what you're saying, but we're talking about books right now. If you look at any contemporary literature, can you give me an example of someone with an ego becoming a hero? You can't, because there's simply no books with that kind of character archetype.
And that makes this book extremely unique and therefore more interesting to read and more enriching.
Well, David, there's the thing. The Iliad, another novel by Homer, is pretty... It's got a lot of things that the Odyssey has. Self-confident characters. Once again, there would be Odysseus. And then there's the Princess of Troy, who think they're the best.
Just because there's another similar novel written by the same author doesn't mean it should replace the Odyssey entirely.
If you went by that logic, then you would be practically reading a similar book to what you are arguing against us reading, which therefore just causes a box for yourself.
But there's many books
Either
like
way,
this.
you end up
Another
reading it.
example.
But you
would
just
be...
used that book as an example, which
No,
you
let me
already
give you
argued,
another
saying it's
example that
very
isn't by
similar to
the
that
same
one.
person.
Well, you already
And the Count of Monte Cristo, the main antagonist Ferdinand, has a lot in common with Odysseus. They both have a big ego. They don't think twice about their actions or the consequences that follow them.
Well, you can't really compare the two characters because Odysseus has to make hard decisions and has to put people's lives on the line.
Well, we'll leave it there on that note. Tell us what you thought of our debate and whether or not the Odyssey should be read in high school English classes. Once again, thanks for tuning into KDLD Podcast.